Tap and Go is a go-to for many Australians, but it's costing us big time. CanStar has found people paying with cards or phones are forking out $140 a year in surcharges. Finance expert Dawn Thomas from The Wealth Designers joins us. Good afternoon, Dawn.
Thank you for having me, Monica.
Thanks for coming in. $140, it's a lot during a cost of living crisis. Where's the money going?
Certainly. It's, when you're being charged, for some people, they are actually aware of it as a surcharge, but for many people, they're not actually aware that it's been built into the cost of what they're buying. And if you think about $140, I know I could definitely use it, kids' items and paying off your mortgage. I mean, I think there are better ways that we could use that money.
Sure is. What can we do to avoid paying the hidden fees? Can we do that?
So one thing is that Tap and Go is there for convenience, and it was born out of the time of COVID, so when you tap and go, you're not thinking about whether you're selecting savings or check on there. So if you are paying from savings, swipe that card, put in that extra step of actually putting down savings or check, and that could reduce the surcharge to about 0.5%. Otherwise, even paying on savings can cost you about 1% if it's coming off as a Tap and Go. So having that awareness of how your card is being used and where you can use cash, you might want to grab that out of the ATM and use that for your purchases.
Really? So just a simple task of swiping or inserting our cards instead of Tap and Go, we can save?
Yeah, about half.
About half. It seems we are being hit with these surcharges hardest at cafes and restaurants. Why is this?
It can be more expensive for small businesses to actually process these payments, and the RBA is not letting businesses actually make money out of these surcharges. They're only really being able to pass on what's actually costing them. So unfortunately for small businesses, they hit hard on various areas, and it is costing them more in this area.
So their profit margins are coming under pressure. Now, surcharging, it's banned in the EU and the UK, but here the RBA has encouraged it. Why?
Well, with surcharging, it's just a way of businesses to be able to pass on a cost. It's seen as a cost to overall business, much like staff wages, the overhead operating costs. So again, it's very clear by the RBA, they're not allowed to make money off this. And if someone feels that they've been excessively charged for the surcharge, they can actually raise that to the ACCC.
OK, we'll go to viewer comments, Dawn. Kerry Lee says cash is king. Is cash the answer?
Cash can be the answer. Now, vendors are not required to have to be giving cash as an option, but if they're not using cash, they need to let you know what that surcharge is.
Peter Baker points out we don't get our salaries cash in hand. Any charge is nothing more than another tax on our earnings.
Yes, it's a cost to service, and unfortunately, this cost is being borne to businesses. And I think it's really those small businesses that are doing it tough. They don't really have anywhere else to put that besides, either increasing their prices or letting customers choose which way they're going to make their payments.
Mike Gilks tells us, I was just paying a deposit for work on my home, less than $1,000, but they wanted to charge a $16 handling fee to pay by cheque. Now, what are the rules when calculating a surcharge, and are there different rules for different types of payment?
Yes, Monica, I'm not really across that area with how that is charged, but what I would say is that, talk to your bank and actually talk to the payment options available for you. I mean, there's things like, your Pay ID, your BPay payments, your direct transfers. So sometimes convenience comes at a cost. I would say maybe pause for a moment, check with your bank and look what options are available for you.
And finally, Brian TM Watt is noticing the surcharge at coffee shops, bars, restaurants, movies, utility bills and chemist. He says it all adds up. Customers really are the biggest losers. Can they refuse to pay?
That becomes down to a choice because they are allowed to, under RBA rules, to incorporate that surcharge either as a price increase or whether they are letting you know what that surcharge is. So, maybe do your research in terms of, who is being competitive with your pricing. But I think everyone's really feeling the pinch now with their budget. I think it's an overall conversation with how your budget needs to work, in relation to, are you looking at your mortgages? Are you looking at your credit cards? It all plays a role together.
Are outlets or service providers obliged by law to actually advertise or let customers know that a surcharge will be placed upon their goods?
Yeah, that's if they don't actually have a cash option available. So if they're saying that we're only tap and go, you need to be able to disclose that surcharge. But you're definitely encouraged to also ask them. If you're asking them, they need to be transparent with what those fees are.
Dawn Thomas from The Wealth Designers, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Monica.